Hi, welcome back to another episode of Cooking Like Medea. I'm Tamia. If you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and it's simply Cooking Like Medea. Today, I have been given the task of showing you um, my recipe for white lasagna. So, what is white lasagna? And excuse me, I am cleaning um my seasonings. I like to clean my seasonings after every use. So I have some chicken in the oven that I seasoned with just my favorite seasonings so that I can go through and use the chicken for today's recipe. I had some out for something that I had used previously. And so I'm a big component of reusing whatever I have. Um, Over the new year, my son turned 21 and he wanted lasagna. He loves lasagna. The thing about it is that tomato sauce doesn't necessarily love him. And so I did a alfredo version of the lasagna. Um, the other thing, it's a cross between my favorite dish, and that is chicken and spinach manicotti. So manicotti noodles are typically a little difficult to stuff, that you have to soften them and things like that. So I just took the idea of lasagna and used the lasagna noodles. I prefer the no bake ones. And we're going to combine this dish. So it's his favorite and my favorite. And so I wanted to show you all of that, and as well as how I am incorporating some of my leftovers out of my freezer, right? So I had some chicken thighs left over. I always have chicken thighs. But again, I like to rotate things out of my freezer. And so I seasoned them. Something else I wanted to discuss with you. When you're using things that don't have salt or sodium and they don't have heat or pepper, it's okay to use a lot of it, right? You don't have to slightly use. I can remember when I was first teaching my son how to cook, and he thought that some seasoning salt was like paprika, so he used a lot of it. It was so salty. So if it doesn't have sodium in it and it doesn't have heat or pepper of some sort in it, use as much as you want. If it does have sodium or if it does have some sort of heat, then you use it to your level of comfort. So I use a lot of onion powder, a lot of um, garlic powder. Notice I'm saying powder and not salt. That has helped me a lot in my journey. Some of you don't know my history, but a few years ago, about 4 years ago, I was about 80 pounds heavier. And I also had a bout with diabetes as well as high blood pressure. And as I started looking at how I was cooking, I was using onion salt, garlic salt, all of these different things. And so it wasn't going well for me. So the fresher the better, powders are better, things like that. So the chicken, because that's going to take the longest out of all of this, is already in the oven. And like I said, season the chicken however you want to. But I'm going to shred it once it is all said and done. And I'm going to mix it. I have some cream spinach that I used over Christmas that I saved. I'm going to mix it with the cream spinach. And that's going to be like my Italian sausage or my ground beef. So this is good for the people who are trying to stay away from beef and pork and things like that too. I have some chopped onions and chopped peppers. Remember, they don't stay well because I'm just cooking for one. And so I buy the frozen ones so I can have them a little longer and I don't have to go to the store every time I want to shop, right? And then I am going to show you all my homemade Alfredo sauce. It's pretty simple, no preservatives, right? So we don't have to worry about that. and I'm going to walk you through that as well. Um, and so we're going to make this chicken and spinach manicotti, or my white lasagna, today for you. I hope that you are enjoying the videos. I see that my viewership is up. I hope that you keep sharing it with the people. And as well, I hope that you comment on it. Let me know some things that you'd like to see. We're doing some more things in 2021, and I'm getting more of the hang of this. And so let's get started, shall we? Come on. Okay, so here we are. So let's start with my famous white sauce, or my famous alfredo sauce. So I have about a half a stick of butter in here. And I'm going to melt that butter. And to that, we are going to add some minced garlic. Again, it is so much better and so much fresher when you have fresh, but it's just me, and stuff will tend to go bad pretty quick. So that's a good 3 tablespoons of garlic that I'm going to add to that. Oh my God, my smeller is popping. It is popping. Basic alfredo. Half a stick of butter, 3 tablespoons of garlic, minced garlic, and a half a thing of, or 4 ounces cream cheese. Now I'm going to add my heavy whipping cream, because why not? And you're treating this like a tomato sauce, like you would for a regular lasagna, or a marinara lasagna, if you will. And you're going to let that cook really low, because you want it to simmer and you want it to do its thing, and because that's just an appropriate thing to do. It's going to be yummy. Because just like with the red sauce, you're going to add it for every layer, like you're going to do your noodle. Here's another option. While we were in Florida, we could not find any lasagna noodles, like the shelves were bare. I used, what did I use? Zucchini. Zucchini. To do those same steps for me. So it became my pasta. So for those of you who are keto friendly, there's that tip for you. And then I'm going to add my Italian cheeses, which is pretty much mozzarella, provolone, parmesan, romana, fontina, and some Asiago. So some of my favorite stores has what's called an Italian blend. And so I'm going to add that. And then I have some shaved Asiago that I'm going to add to that. A little kick that I like to have to my Alfredo. I can't talk today. I hate the ums and the ahs. Forgive me, guys. The thing that I'm going to add to this is going to be a dollop of sour cream, and it gives you that extra kick. It's going to be so yummy. So you're going to treat this like a regular lasagna, right? You're going to put in your sauce at the bottom. You're going to layer the noodles, and then you're going to add, I add the meat mixture, so the spinach and the chicken. And then on top of that, I would do um, a layer of ricotta. And then on top of that, I would do some cheese. And then I would level it again. And you keep going however many levels you desire. And on the top, you're going to add your cheeses. Well, no, you're going to add the last layer of your alfredo sauce. Then you're going to add your cheeses, and then you're going to add parsley on top of that. So you get it like a lasagna, but you also get it like a great manicotti. And I love it. And it's going to cook down for you. So my cream cheese is now melting. And so now I'm going to start to add some of the other cheeses and my sour cream. And then I'm just going to let it sit. Just want to make sure that you can see that because it's doing its thing. There we go. Not hard to make. Pretty easy. It smells wonderful. The Asiago gives it that bite that you like, or that I like, I should say. And if you don't like the bite, then of course just don't add the extra Asiago. This is so much healthier than using the jars of the Alfredo sauce. And you can make your own spin to it. And again, no preservatives, right? And then I add a little pepper to this. I make sure it stays down low. If it's too thick, I'll add a little extra heavy whipping cream. Because of the cheeses, you really don't have to salt it much, but always taste it to see if it's to your level. That's great for me. So I'm going to turn that all the way down. Alrighty, let's get back to it. I have some olive oil in my pan there. Hope you can see that. And we're going to add, I throw in vegetables wherever I can. So, along with the spinach, I'm throwing in some onions and some pepper and a little bit more garlic. We build flavors every time. We're building flavors. So let's add our green peppers. And again, remember, I'm doing frozen peppers or frozen vegetables because this whole living alone jazz, I don't cook as much as I used to. And my fresh stuff, it was going bad. I didn't turn it on. Duh, Tania. I'm like, what happened to the sizzle? I didn't turn it on. That's not good. And so I use frozen. Yes, I could go out and buy stuff every time I want to cook, but who wants to do that? I want stuff that's already here that I can just cook. So in those cases, especially like for recording purposes or even for purposes of just me, I'll do the frozen vegetables. The aroma in here though, so this is amazing. Just want you to know, in case you were wondering. Yep, it's amazing, boss. There we go. Sizzle is popping now. That's what we want. I'm gonna add some fresh cracked pepper to it. And I'm gonna add some grounded salt to it. So good. And then I'm gonna add my cream spinach to that from Christmas. And once my chicken has cooled and I have shredded it, I'm gonna add that to it as well. I'm gonna cook these until they are translucent, giving you what you need to see. Now, if you're using fresh spinach or if you're using frozen spinach, make sure to squeeze all of the liquid out. And also with the zucchini, if you decide to slice the zucchini instead of using regular noodles, make sure that you are toasting those a bit to get the um, moisture out of it as well. But this is going to be our meat and vegetable base here. So remember, layers. A little sauce on the bottom, then the noodles or the zucchini if you're using those. Then it's the meat mixture, so it'll be this with the chicken in it. And then it will be our ricotta mixture. We're going to add some cheese. We're going to add a little bit more sauce. And you're going to do it all over again. So sauce, noodle, meat mixture, ricotta, cheese. And one of my cousins who ate the zucchini lasagna, he said he didn't even like the zucchini. But because of the sauce and the spinach, he ate it. Gotta get them in. It's gonna be so good. All right, now it's time to put everything together. So, first layer, especially because I'm using no-bake noodles, is to just spread the sauce. Not a lot, just so that it'll help in the baking of the no-bake noodles. Okay. Then I'm gonna add a layer of the no-bake noodles. Now my pan is not a traditional pan, so I'm gonna lay these slightly different. Normally, we'll be laying these like these the whole way. But again, it's a different kind of pan, so I'm gonna break it as I see fit to make it work how I need it to work. Don't mind me. I'm just doing what I do. Okay. Because again, different kind of pot, different kind of pan. All right. Next, so I have my chicken in here. I'm going to spread this. And I'm going to cover the noodles. Spread it out. I didn't shred my chicken as much as I could, but you get the concept. And this is so much easier than stuffing it in the manicotti shells. And so it's giving me a good layer. The moisture from the spinach and the chicken is also going to help in the baking process of the no-bake noodle. Or if you like boiling your noodles, have at it. Do that also. I've mixed up my ricotta. So this is ricotta, this is the cheeses, and this is 2 eggs along with some Italian seasoning and a thin layer across there also. It's also like the adhesive. I got some salt and pepper in here as well. Okay. We want to make sure that we have enough for at least 2 applications. And it does not have to be thick. Some people in their lasagnas, they don't even use ricotta. Shame on you. I like it, but that's me. Next layer, my cheeses. So again, it's only me here, so I'm only doing 2 layers. Pretty much when I make my lasagna, I only do 2 layers anyway. Okay. Next layer. Remember how we started before? This time we're going to add a little bit more of the sauce because we want it to bake down onto everything else. But it's still the glue, it's still the adhesive, and it's still going to help with the cooking of the dry noodles. Well, let me tell you something, huh? This alfredo sauce is on another level. Noodles. You could do sideways and then break it. It's totally up to you. Whatever you want to do. Then, if you make too much of this, you can always freeze it and use it later. Or if you decide you want to use the manicotti pasta shells, perfect. You can use this here. But when I tell you this is perfect, and I may not want to eat this every day, so what I can do is I can cut this into squares and take a square and put it in the freezer. So when I want it, I don't have to defrost the entire thing. I can defrost what I need to eat. If it's just me, if I want to send it down to my son at school, if someone gets sick and I want to drop them off some food, I can give them a couple of these and they are good to go. This is how, and I'm sure I have some people out there who understand my plight. This is how I made it, knowing how to cook, but not cooking for anybody else. I simply freeze it into small sections so that when I want it or need it, I can have it. I still have a hard time cooking in small portions, as you can see. But I just put stuff in the freezer. But you can't just put it in the freezer whole. You have got to separate it into servings. So you'll go back and you'll have it. You can have some macaroni in there. You can have some dressing in there. Whatever the case is, if it's freezable, greens especially, I put greens up there. If it's freezable, put that stuff away. Freeze it. Then you have stuff that you can eat on later. That has saved me. Because I'm thinking lasagna, and I'm like, oh my God. Now, you all know that this would not be the size that my son and I would eat. But listen, this is probably the proper size. We don't have any problems with leftovers. We'll eat leftovers for days. But, yeah. So don't not make something that you have a taste for simply because it's just you. Baby, when this thing is cooked, it cool down, I'm probably gonna before I put it up tonight, I'm going to take a few of these off of here, a few slices, and I'm going to put it in a Ziploc bag and freeze it. Why shouldn't you, right? Last layer. Going to flip it around a little bit. I'm going to put the sauce on first. Then I'm going to put some cheese and some parsley. I'm also going to put this under a cookie sheet. I'm making a little reservoir here. So as it starts to melt and bubble, it'll go down in here first before it tries to get outside of the pan. I still have my pan on from my chicken, right? So that gives me my little reservoir. Y'all, this is about to be so good. Then, like I say, put my cheese on top. And then I'm going to put some parsley on top of that. Uh-oh. See how it's already starting to come over? Oh my goodness. What's parsley for? To make it look pretty. Give it some more color. And then I'm going to add a little paprika to that. And then I'm going to put that in the oven. And I'm going to let it bake down. Now, you can bake it with foil over it, or you cannot bake it with foil over it. Completely up to you. I don't want the foil to take the prettiness from my dish, you know, where the cheese and everything gets on the foil and doesn't stay on the dish. So I'm going to leave it as is. And while this is cooking, I'm going to clean up. All right, let's see what we have. Yep, I did right. Otherwise, I will be spending a bunch of hours cleaning my stove. Now see that? So now what I will do is I'm going to let it sit for a few minutes, because if I cut it right now, it'll be extremely runny. So I'm going to let it sit for a little while. But look at all of that. So good. And so that is the ending to my white lasagna, or my chicken and spinach manicotti with lasagna noodles. Thank you once again for joining me on Cooking with Medea. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share. And don't forget to comment. Thank you.